No dementia patient is the same.
Everybody's an individual. It's knowing what that person likes.
Married, they've had children, they've been a normal person in their life.
She's the person I married. While she doesn't know me, I know her.
That's we too. Look at.
Sign it, register with Father Johnson. I was always on top of everything and knew, I never forgot anything. I knew that something was wrong because I knew my brain wasn't working like it normally does. Brian, you know, he's my carer and I couldn't manage without him.
Dementia is different to many other diseases that people get. Very often when someone gets a disease, the person that they are is not affected. What can happen if we're not careful is we can forget that the person is there and we can just focus on the disease.
We try to sort of lead normal lives.
We go out, we're going to Derbyshire.
I play the piano. It's not stopped us doing anything, but having said that, it annoys me when people are talking to us sometimes and they just talk to Brian as though I don't understand what they're talking about. They sort of ignore me as though, you know, well, she'll not know anyway. Yes, you do lose your memory, but you're not stupid. You are still that person.
Dementia predominantly affects a person's brain, and as a result of that has effects throughout the person's emotion, behaviour, their personality, their sense of self, their understanding of themselves and others. Holding on to who a person is and how they behave is really, really important. What can happen? People, for example, been in hospital, people can be forgotten and the disease takes over.
On the Molar ward, we generally come down and assess people. We find out what the environment's like at home, how they're coping at home. We maybe talk to relatives as well as the patient. Is your son coming to see you today?
Somebody coming to see me today.
Is your son coming today?
I don't know. I don't know what he
might
really
come
does.
later. If somebody's got dementia, we'd find out the background, what they like to do, all them kind of things, because they're all involved in their life. So if they say they've got hobbies and interests, it's interesting to know that. Just generally important to look at them as a person, because people tend to look at notes and think this person's got this person's got that, but try to ignore that and just talk to them individually and find out what makes them tick, because it's a big impact on the person.
Even though our ward's not dedicated to dementia patients like the Mallard, we still have to treat them with respect and compassion. If a patient with a dementia comes on the ward, it depends on how bad the dementia is as to whether they will let us do anything with them. And it's usually just a case of just talking to them. You just don't know. They could have that odd moment where they know what's happening, and if we're treating them like a child when they come in, then it's not good.
We know in dementia it affects everyone differently, so there's no two people who've got dementia who are the same. So trying to understand how dementia affects a person is very dependent on that individual.
I have a patient last week with the dementia, and the healthcare told me she's aggressive, be careful. I start to speak in the corridor, in the way to city, nice to her, and say, oh, your dressing gown is nice, that color pink is nice in you, and touch the cheeks, and she start to smile and cooperate. And I think, personally, if you are nice with them, they are not aggressive. They are aggressive just because they are frustrated, because nobody understands that position.
No dementia patient is the same. They've all got individual characteristics and personalities, so we just try to enhance that and provide the quality of care that's needed for them. Your baby called?
baby.
Oh, you're nearly dropping her.
Carol started about 12 years ago with the dementia. Who's this? Carol? Who's this? She was very warm and bubbly. She liked home life. She was very active. She liked cycling, walking, dancing.
Right, look at it like well,
yeah, it does, don't it?
To what to do.
They've got to be respected. I mean, all right, some of them make funny noises and sleep all day. They don't know what they're doing, so we've got to look after them.
It's 10 years since Henry was diagnosed with dementia. The church were a big part of his life. He'd only been ordained a couple of years when he started with early onset dementia. When I see him wandering around, he'll wander down the corridor and come to the end, and then he'll come back again, and you look at him and you think, there's nothing there. But yet I know he is still there. He's still my husband, and I love him, and I'll love him till the day he dies.
People, if they have dementia, they come from hospital to us for assessment, so we can see which way they're going to go, if they're going to go home, if they're going to go into 24-hour care.
The lady that been working with, Joan, she's come in with a history of falls at home.
Do you think we can walk right round this table and back to the chair again? Because if you manage that, that's twice as far as we did yesterday.
In health and social care settings, I think it's learning that you've got to treat that person as an individual, learn about what they're like and what perhaps they did in their previous life. For me as a physiotherapist, some of my peers and colleagues might say, well, that's not physiotherapy, but actually that interaction with Joan today might stand me in better stead when I come to try and walk with her tomorrow. We learn about them and what works best for them, because at the end of the day, that's when they're going to be at their best, is that we've got an understanding about them. And I suppose that's the main thing about person-centred care, is understanding the person.
Behind any disease or illness, there's always a person. And no matter where you are or the sort of care or support you're providing, the more you can learn about a person, the more you can learn about what helps a person and what upsets a person, what makes them feel more relaxed, what makes them feel happier or sad, the better you're able to work with that person and get the most out of them.